Good evening. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing for the invocation by Pastor McNair. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening to the council.
Good evening.
Good evening to the community. I pray that everyone is well tonight. Lord, we just thank you for our mayor, our city council, and our community. We pray that justice will be served in hearing what the community wants to say to the council. May it be done in fairness and allow us as people in the community to have love and respect for one another. Also have joy, peace, and love within your household. Lord, we ask that everything will be done in decent and in order. And I say all these things in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Good evening. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the schedule of the meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which designated the time and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using an electronic amplifying and recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record. We request that all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. The recording device be so utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of the minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Mignon?
Here.
Mrs. Overtroxel? Here. Mrs. Grace Love? Here. Mr. Nash?
Here.
Mrs. Walters? Here. Mrs. Winters?
Here.
Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Carlemere?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
Chief Harkins?
Here.
Mr. McGill?
Here.
Mrs. Eric? Here.
We'll now open up our first public comment portion. This is for agenda items only. Each speaker can speak up to 3 minutes. There's 15 minutes allocated for this public comment period, and council will respond to any comments or questions after the public comment has ended. Anyone wish to speak on the first public comment portion? Mr. Leader. You don't need this. Is this accurate?
Leader, Huntington Avenue, Glendora.
Good evening.
When I went on the clerk's site, it said that this entire document was the agenda. So, as I've said before, I don't know what is appropriate because I've been turned away from the microphone in the past for this portion of the meeting. So this whole document, like on the table there, is the agenda. That's what it's called. That's what it's named. What items may I talk about during this portion of the meeting?
We'll respond after your comments, sir.
Should have stayed home.
Okay. Does anyone else would like to speak? Ms. Coyne?
Denise Coyne, Shoes Landing. Can somebody explain to me why there's a resolution to amend the budget if the budget hasn't been approved? That's it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, close the first public comment. Mr. Leader, the agenda items, these are items that are listed here, resolutions that are on here, resolutions and ordinance. If there's an ordinance for a second reading, there's a public hearing where you could speak on that particular item. On the resolution here, any comments that you made, you could comment on the resolutions on the ordinance, Mr. Leader. Do you need any more clarification on that?
Consent agenda.
A consent agenda is one fell swoop where those items are listed there, and rather than going through each individual one, they're on that consent agenda and they're voted as one, as a group.
I couldn't speak to them at this portion.
Yes, you could have. Ms. Coyne, in regards to the amendment to the resolution, Mr. Cardis or Ms. Eric, do you like to address that?
Yeah, I can answer that. So the budget was introduced on April 14th, 2025. After it is introduced, it is then sent to the state. A state budget examiner then goes through the budget and comes back to the township, specifically to the CFO, if there are any areas in there that need to be amended. That then results in the amendment that we see before us tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Cardis. Proclamation of National Public Works Week.
Whereas public work services provided in our communities are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives. And whereas the supportive and informed and engaged citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public work systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets and highways, public buildings, and snow removal. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on the dedicated efforts and skills of public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees. And whereas these essential services could not be provided without the commitment and tireless efforts of public works professionals to design, build, operate, and maintain the infrastructure and services that allow our communities to thrive. And whereas the American Public Works Association has designated the week of May 18th through the 24th of 2025 as National Public Works Week, with the theme Advancing Quality of Life for All, which encourages all citizens to celebrate and recognize the vital role public works plays in connecting us all through infrastructure and services. Now, therefore, be it resolved that David R. Mayer, Mayor of the Township of Gloucester, and Orlando Mercado, President of Council, do hereby proclaim May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week in the Township of Gloucester, and call upon all citizens and civic organizations to recognize the substantial contributions that public works professionals make in improving our quality of life and keeping our community strong, safe, and resilient, not just during this week, but at every opportunity throughout the year.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Proclamation Mental Health Awareness Month, May 2025. Whereas mental health is an essential part of our overall health and well-being, it includes our emotional, psychological, and social happiness. Whereas mental health affects one's physical health, relationships, and ability to thrive by influencing how we think, feel, and act, how we manage stress, relate to others, and make choices. And whereas mental health is influenced by numerous external factors, including access to quality employment, housing, education, social connection, physical and emotional safety, diet, and preventative care. And whereas 1 in 5 adults would experience a mental illness in their lifetime, and 1 in 5 children will have or have had a debilitating mental illness during their life, according to the CDC. And whereas 20% of all children and young people ages 3 to 17 in the United States have a mental, emotional, developmental, or behavioral disorder, and whereas suicide is the second leading cause of death amongst people ages 10 to 14 and 25 to 34, and the 11th leading cause of death in the United States. And whereas New Jersey has implemented and incorporated 988, the national three-digit dialing code for anyone having thoughts of suicide and experiencing a mental health or substance abuse crisis. And whereas there are a variety of essential community resources in the township of Gloucester and county of Camden that promote mental health and well-being to meet the unique needs of groups and individuals on their healing journey. Now, therefore, be resolved that David R. Mayor, Mayor of the Township of Gloucester, and I, Orlando Mercado, President of Council, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as National Mental Health Awareness Month in the Township of Gloucester, and ask that all residents, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools commit to increasing awareness and understanding of mental illness to reduce the discrimination of stigma associated with mental health diagnosis and instill hope by providing access to health care and a wide array of community-based human and social services that assist individuals with mental illness to live a dignified life with the support and services needed to thrive. Dated May 12, 2025. One of our residents has worked with the police department and just reached out to the mayor's department. Matthew Peterson would like to comment on that, Matthew.
Thank you. Good evening, council. I wanted to, as Mr. mentioned, I had the chance this past Wednesday to go to the awareness tree with Mayor, and we did the ceremony for the green ribbon for Mental Health Awareness Month, and Chief Harkins started that. So I greatly appreciate your help with that, Chief Harkins. Just to expand a little bit on the resolution, so everyone knows, you did mention how it affects 1 in 5. And I wanted to mention to everyone who doesn't know, my son, who is a graduate of Charles W. Lewis, suffers from schizophrenia. So some in the community do know who my son is. So it is deeply personal fight to me. It truly is the single biggest issue, I believe, facing our country today. Mental illness doesn't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent. It affects us all. The 1 in 5 is just a staggering number. I just wanted to expand a little bit on the resolution and put out a couple numbers for anyone who may be watching the stream or the number. NAMI has a hotline that is 800-950-6264 that you can call. Just if you need to talk to someone, if you're feeling even a little bit of crisis. And also that 988 isn't just, a lot of people think it's just for suicide and all that. It can be if, hey, I think my friend might be contemplating something and you need help. As you mentioned, we have a wide variety of resources in the township, and the police are amazing on that. They have a wide variety of resources. They already work with special interest groups that may need them. So my main message is that there is hope. The number may seem staggering, the 1 in 5, but I see improvement in my son every day through the system and not giving up. I see other people, just talk to anyone who may be listening and, oh, no one believes me. No one will listen to me. Will listen to you. Someone will always listen to you. And that's the message I wanted to give to everyone tonight is there is always hope, even if you're in your darkest point. Thank you very much for letting me speak.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it. Waive the reading, accept the minutes of the workshop April 14, 2025, regular meeting April 14, 2025, and April 28, 2025. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Minune?
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel?
Yes.
Mrs. Grace Love?
Abstain from the March 14th workshop only. Yes to everything.
Mr. Nash?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes to all. Ordinance, the second reading, there will be a public hearing. The ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 63A of the Code of the Township of Gloucester entitled Pawnbrokers and Dealers in Secondhand Goods. What this ordinance does is a ordinance was established in 2007, establishing a procedure for licensing and operation of pawnbrokers and dealers of secondhand goods and merchandise in the township. And it created Chapter 63A entitled Pawnbrokers and Dealers in Secondhand Goods. This is in its entirety and subsequent amendments being replaced with the ordinance that we're introducing for adoption tonight. to read as follows, where it talks about the license that is required, acceptable identification, identifies what antiques or antique dealer is. It indicates the process of the exceptions, such as garage sales are not under this particular ordinance. It gives you the process for the application for a license, the fees that are associated for a pawnbroker or secondhand dealer, the issuance of a license, the posting of that license, and any revocations, that a license cannot be transferred, the hours of operation, prohibited purchases, purchasing, selling of displaying weapons is prohibited, and then the responsibilities for a pawnbroker and second-hand dealer. We now open up the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wish to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. May I have a motion, please?
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel,
Yes.
Mrs. Grace Love,
Yes.
Mr. Nash,
Yes.
Mrs. Walters.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters.
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes, thank you, Chief, for your work on that. I appreciate it. Ordinance 0-25-16 is the first reading. There will be a hearing at its second reading. Ordinance amending Chapter 81 of the Code of the Township of Gloucester entitled Vehicles and Trucks, Section 14 entitled Parking Prohibited at all times on certain streets of the Code of the Township of Gloucester. This designates parking prohibited at all times on certain streets and is hereby amended as follows. I'm going to go down the name of the streets. Continental Boulevard on the sides of the easterly curb line. Continental Boulevard, the westerly curb line. The name of the street, Freedom Way, the sides, the westerly side. Freedom Way, the easterly side. Freedom Way, the southwest side. Freedom Way, the southeast side, and then Union Way, both sides, from Freedom Way to the roundabout at the eastern intersection of Union Way. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel,
Yes.
Mrs. Grace Love,
Yes.
Mr. Nash.
Yes.
Mrs. Walters.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters.
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes. Next is our consent agenda. Any council member would like to have any item removed, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel,
Yes.
Mrs. Grace Love,
Yes.
Mr. Nash.
Yes.
Mrs. Walters.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters.
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes.
Resolution 168, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester, authorizing the Township Clerk to read the 2025 Township Budget by title only.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel,
Yes.
Mrs. Grace Love,
Yes.
Mr. Nash,
Yes.
Mrs. Walters.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters, Mr. Mercado.
Yes.
Resolution 169, resolution to amend the 2025 budget of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey. Whereas the local municipal budget for the year,
You have to have the public hearing first.
sorry, public hearing.
This is Resolution 169. There will be a public hearing on the budget. Each speaker is entitled to 5 minutes. You can continue speaking, but we'll ask additional people if they want to continue speaking. It's unlimited on this public hearing on the budget. Does anyone wish to speak on the budget? Ms. Coyne, followed by Mr. Leader. It's 5 minutes. Any responses will be at the end of the hearing.
Sorry, I'm not that tall.
That's okay.
Denise Coyne, Choose Landing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is this thing working? All right. Back in September 2024, we were told by this council and the administration that rejecting the sewer sale would lead to financial hardship. We were told that rates would rise, and we were warned that the business administrator's reaction to our sewer maintenance would have to be proactive and reactive instead of proactive. But here we are in May of 2025, and our sewer rates have not gone up. The township is buying lights for sports fields using leftover budget money, and we're being told that there'll be no tax increase. Conveniently, it's a mayor election year. So how did we get here? The answer isn't sound financial planning. To plug the budget, the township sold off the MUA land for $1.6 million. They transferred $6 million from the MUA to the municipal budget, and they executed a reverse tax appeal for the older apartment complexes and some commercial properties, pulling in a one-time $8 million windfall. The last move raises serious concerns. The properties impacted, Lakeview, Fairways, Torrey Estates, Jamestown, Millbridge Gardens, are all home to young adults, seniors, and lower income families. Those tax increases won't sit with the landlords. They'll be passed down in the form of higher rents for the people already struggling with inflation and rising living costs. This isn't a new pattern. History shows that odd number election years, taxes are flat, and even numbered years, taxes go up. We're simply kicking the can down the road. So my question tonight is, how much will our taxes have to increase next year to cover this year's overspending, overborrowing, and reliance on one-time fixes? Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else would like to speak? Mr. Leader.
Dave Leader, Glendora. The council in the last few months approved loans before the budget was even approved or presented. Those loans should have been in the budget. So instead of being able to pay those loans through taxpayers this year, we're going to be paying for those loans for many years to come. And they could have just been in the budget. My guess is you would have to raise taxes. My guess is also that Mayor is also going to campaign that he didn't raise taxes this year. Makes me think that you all are part of the problem. You made a solution by getting loans instead of putting it in the budget. That must be foolish of you.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Ms. Coyne made some comments regarding the rates rising and financial issues. If the sewer sale did not go through, sewer rates have not gone up. That is correct. She identified apartment complexes and the individuals that live and how it would affect them. And asked the question, how will this affect, what type of increase will we have this year? That is hard to determine. I leave that to our CFO and our business administrator.
I would not speculate on the 2026 budget, nor would I speculate on whether there'll be a rate increase, decrease, or whether it would stay the same.
Okay. Mr. Leader made a comment about that there was loans that were approved before this budget. We had a temporary budget that was in place for the first few months or up until this time period. Do you want to comment on that as far as these loans? And
So
how-
any loan that the township, any borrowing of money is followed under NJSA, the section that is entitled local bond law. And we follow that local bond law with regard to monies borrowed by the general fund and by the sewer utility. And so that would mean that we would have to adhere to those laws and what those laws spell out. And that would dictate what our debt service would be, the amortization schedule, what the useful life is, and we follow that to the law.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cardis. So we have Resolution 2505-169, resolution to amend 2025 budget of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey. Madam Clerk?
Whereas the local municipal budget for the year 2025 was approved on the 14th day of April 2025. And whereas the public hearing on said budget has been held and advertised. And whereas it is desired to amend said approved budget, which does not require advertisement. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, that the following amendments to the approved budget of 2025 be made. General revenues, number 6, local tax for municipal purposes, including reserve for uncollected taxes, sheet 11, $60,908,670.30 to $60,906,901.81. Total amount to be raised by taxes for support of municipal budget, sheet 11, $60,908,670.30 to $60,906,901.81. 7, total general revenues, sheet 11, $83,489,804.78 to $83,488,036.29. General appropriations, number 8A, operations within the from caps. Liability insurance, sheet 14, from $1,435,283 to $1,510,240. Total operations, item 8A, within caps, sheet 17A, from $60,027,271 to $60,102,228. Total operations, including contingent within caps, from $60,027,271 to $60,102,228. Other expenses, including contingent, from $26,475,436 to $26,550,393. H1, total general appropriations for municipal purposes within caps, sheet 19, from $70,183,504 to $70,258,461. 8A, operations excluded from caps, liability insurance, sheet 20, from $76,717 to $0. Total other operations excluded from caps, sheet 20A, from $1,962,777 to $1,886,060. Total operations excluded from caps, sheet 25, from $2,290,892.48 to $2,214,175.48. Detail other expenses, from $2,202,237.48 to $2,125,520.48. H2, total general appropriations for municipal purposes excluded, sheet 28, from $12,326,467.48 to $12,249,750.48. O, total general appropriations excluded from caps, sheet 29, from $12,326,467.48 to $12,249,750.48. L, subtotal general appropriations items H1 and O, $82,509,971.48 to $82,508,211.48. M, reserve for uncollected taxes from $979,833.30 to $979,824.81. 9, total general appropriations from $83,489,804.78 to $83,488,036.29. Excuse me.
Take your time.
Thank you. Summary of Appropriations Sheet 30, H-1, total general appropriations for municipal purposes within caps from $70,183,504 to $70,258,461. A, operations within from caps, other operations from $1,962,770 to $1,886,060. Total operations excluded from caps from $2,290,892.48 to $2,214,175.48. M, reserve for uncollected taxes, $979,833.30 to $979,824.81. Total general appropriations from $83,489,804.78 to $83,488,036.29. Be it further resolved that certified copies of this resolution will be filed forthwith in the office of the Director of Division of Local Government Services for certification of the local budget amended.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. May I have a roll call, please?
So moved.
Oh, motion. I'm sorry. Thank you. May I have a motion?
So moved.
There's a second
Second.
on the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Mune,
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel,
Yes.
Mrs. Grace Love,
Yes.
Mr. Nash,
Yes.
Mrs. Walters,
Yes.
Mrs. Winters, Mr. Mercado.
Yes.
Resolution 170, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, adopting the 2025 calendar year budget.
May I have a motion to adopt the budget pending state approval?
So moved. Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel,
Yes, pending state approval.
Mrs. Grace Love,
Yes.
Mr. Nash,
Yes.
Mrs. Walters,
Yes.
Mrs. Winters, Mr. Mercado.
Yes, and thank you, Mrs. Eric, Mr. Karsh, for your work on that. I do appreciate it. Thank you. We did not receive any GTE Gov access emails this week. Now open up the second public comment portion. This is for any item that the public chooses to address. Each speaker is entitled to 5 minutes. There's 30 minutes for the entire public comment portion. At the end of the public comment portion, the council will address those questions and comments. Would anyone like to speak? Mr. Burns, followed by Mr. Leader, followed by Ms. Gentili, followed by Ms. Coyne, and followed by you in the front. I'm sorry.
Good evening, Council. Brian Burns, Longwood Drive. Two things I want to chat about this evening. One is the Murray acquisition. I reached out to Mike Zambino, who was the CEO of Triad Associates. Mr. Mercado, you were copied on this as well.
Mhm.
I'm not quite sure if you shared his response with council members. I would like to read his response. And it goes like this: Mr. Burns, thank you for your interest in preserving open space, in particular properties like the Murray estate with significant natural features. This Green Acres funding, which has been approved for the Murray acquisition, is expected to close within the next 60 days or less. The delays closing earlier related to some contamination, as mentioned at the council meeting, which has been remediated. The remaining steps relate to the final sign-off of the remediation process, after which the property will proceed to closing. The funding has been reserved for this property. Thanks again for your interest in this matter. Sincerely, Mike Zambino. So I tip my hat to you guys. It's really going to happen. And as an educator of 40 years, you got to give credit where credit is due. So the Rosalind Bridge, the Murray, the Hayes, all together, if you include the, there's a part of HOA, which is reserved with the Little Mill Estates. We're looking at close to 200 acres there. And if you add that to the golf course, which is 400 acres, most of which is conservation easement. I'm on the conservation team there. So you're talking 600 acres of open space. That's incredible. It really is. And I say kudos to you guys. I say thank you. It's been a long road. But yeah, what you have preserved will be there forever. Its unique natural features is part of our natural heritage. It has endangered plants. It has threatened fish. And, you know, it's a wonderful thing. And I say thank you. And when you guys are all gone and I'm gone, the next generations will be able to enjoy this open space. The other thing I want to mention at the last meeting, one of the residents brought up the topic of a shade tree commission. I don't know if council is aware, but in January, the DEP passed an ordinance that all municipalities of which, we are actually classified, must have a tree removal and replacement program. I don't know if we have one. I went through the website. I couldn't find it. The state actually has a template that you guys can use, and all you got to do is put in the name of your municipality, whether you need a permit to remove trees. If the council wants to charge a fee for that removal, it's up to council. But it is a mandate that our township must have a tree removal and replacement ordinance. So I want to share this with council members, and you guys can tweak this or do whatever you want with it. So my question for this evening is, do we have an ordinance? And if not, will one be, voted upon or installed for the township so we meet DEP requirements? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burns.
Have your hat on, I recognize. Thank you for all your work. Yeah, thank you.
So you're probably going to need a little time to read through that and digest it. There's tree companies all over this township every single day. And I don't know if you guys require permits or not. We're looking at, a budget deficit. We're in the hole a little bit. Any chance that you can make a few bucks on that, I support it. If it relieves taxpayers paying more taxes. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Leader?
Dave Leader, Huntington Avenue, Glendora. Thank you, Mr. Cardis, for answering a question I didn't ask. I didn't ask, how do you go about getting loans? I asked, why wasn't the loans included in the budget instead of making loans early in the year while you were still filling out the budget forms? That would be a better answered question that where my point is. Another point is when I look at the working session, I see an acronym that is not spelled out prior to it being on the For example, the road improvement program. It's standard publication and documentation practices that first time an acronym is used, it be spelled out, the full name, and then that acronym in parens right after it. I'd like to know if council will adopt that format. I don't know what CMCI means. I guess I don't care. I've been trying to join the Green Team for 3 months now. I'm not sure it exists. I've never met anybody that claims to have been on and participating in the Green Team, although I've asked people. I came here and was told to go to the mayor. I went to the mayor twice, no results. There's a link on the township's website that actually states join the Green Team. I've clicked that link and there's no way in that description following to join the Green Team, although there probably is a page of data, which is all good data. My question is, how do I join the Green Team? Lighted ball fields. My question is, what are your plans to light all the Gloucester Township ball fields that do not have lights? Taxpayers pay for some lights. It's your job to make sure things are equitable. There's a lot of ball fields. I went by the one on Evesham the other night, and the kids were playing practically in the dark. It was still early evening, but you probably couldn't see a grounder coming at you. What are your plans to light all the Gloucester Township ball fields that do not have lights? Next question is media and press releases. Madam Clerk said Nixel from police is how notifications are given to the public. I get those alerts. I was never notified of an event like the recent press announcements. There was nothing on the township's webpage prior to the media events or announcements. My question is, how can the public receive prior notice of media events and public announcements prior to or the same time as the media? My next question has to do with the press announcements and the media events that you held. When press announcements are made, only credentialed news are the only ones who can ask questions. Read the Constitution First Amendment. We are all journalists. What about the public? This statement excludes them. Every citizen is part of the news media. My question is, will Gloucester Township allow the public to ask questions at media events and public announcements? My next question has to do with the focus on Blackwood arts, murals, black box, statues. What about the other communities? For example, Glendora had more people by the census than Blackwood. I don't see council, mayor doing anything about looking at Glendora. And then there's Ariel, Hilltop, Blenheim, Jews Landing, Davisville, Ariel, Glen Oaks, Grenlock, Hilltop, Lakeland, Lambs Terrace, Little Gloucester, Nash Mills Point, Pleasant, and Turkeyfoot. These are all identified as areas that the residents of the township live in. My question is, what are council's plans to invest in the other communities other than Blackwood? My next question has to do with the council and school board meetings. The public should not have to choose which one they want to attend. My question is, when will council take the initiative to coordinate with the school boards to coordinate the meeting dates and times when they meet so there is no conflict? In addition, the construction and zoning boards need to consider, before they approve things, whether the school actually has space for the children that are anticipated in those approvals. And council has that same obligation.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Leader. Ms. Gentili? Okay.
Council Nancy Kelly.
Excuse me?
Nancy Kelly, 210 Keystone Blackwood. I go by Nancy Kelly. I have been for 40-some years, 50-some years.
Okay, I'll call you by your preferred name then.
So the developer mentioned they plan to close in 30 days. I find that very interesting. It was also said by the developer and up here that residents don't want commercial properties. We did canvassing today, and I have 13 signatures from the neighbors of the property that's possible going to get the high density 250 apartments. That's an incredible number, an additional 250. The residents don't want it. I knocked on, we have someone here that knocked on doors today. I didn't knock on doors. And the consensus was of the neighbors, they don't want it. I'll be knocking on more doors to make sure I can get the right information to you. The developers did not do due diligence, and I don't know if we did here either up on council. I don't know if everybody sent out a letter to them. This is what we're proposing in their backyard. They don't want 250 units in their backyard. Many of them said they would rather have commercial. It's going to bring jobs. It's going to bring ratables. It's not going to increase our student population. It's not going to add more service calls for the police, more emergency calls for EMTs. So each of you got a package today from the clerk of 27 emails. Also, today was an additional 13. I can certainly get more from the neighbors of that property that don't want it. So I'll do my homework. I'll do my due diligence. I'll talk to that entire neighborhood. I have a map here that I was going around of all the neighbors of the streets. So I'll get you more signatures of the neighbors. They don't want it. Let's see. I had one more question. Why would a developer buy a property zoned as commercial? I don't know if you can answer that. I know we don't have a crystal ball, but why would a developer buy a property that's zoned commercial and now they have to go through hoops of fire to change it into a possible residential, which we hope it doesn't happen. Going forward, I really hope that everyone on council asks and demands traffic study, student impact study, and we talk to the 3 developments that surround it. I hope you look at the packets that were given to you. I hope you read the letters. And I have 13 signatures today. I'll get more. The neighbors don't want it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Coyne?
Denise Coyne, Shoes Landing. First of all, I'd like to say that Mr. Nash asked how many units of high density were being built and planned, and he was told 160 units at the loss. That's nowhere close to the figures I have. So 160 at the loss, 180 in Sicklerville, 360 at College Drive, close to 200 across from Ann Mullen, the 500 that are built and still being built at South Winds, and there's a high density project for like 800 units across from the college. And that's just off the top of my head. There's many more. So I'd also like to address Gloucester Township's continued use of redevelopment powers under our blanket designation as an area in need of rehabilitation. This designation, put in place in 1980, still applies to the entire township. That means that council has the authority to approve redevelopment plans anywhere without going through the zoning process. But that broad authority comes with consequences. Because the whole township qualifies, any developer can now ask council to approve a redevelopment plan for their project, even if it conflicts with the current zoning. And let's be honest, for many builders, redevelopment is the more attractive route. It's faster, it's more flexible, and often more favorable than going through the zoning board, where strict legal standards and variance criteria must be met. So here's where the legal risk comes in. If council says yes to some and no to others without clear and consistent reasoning, the township is exposed to lawsuits. Developers who are denied could argue they were treated unfairly compared to others who were approved. That liability is something the public shouldn't be on the hook for. There's also a heightened risk by what took place just last week. Or it could have been this week, I'm not sure. At the mayor's annual breakfast, the Michaels organization was introduced as the developer for the Nike base. It was presented as something up and coming, not for a formal designation or a vote, but a public announcement with implications. 4 out of 7 council members were in attendance, a quorum. While there was no discussion and no vote, the mayor's public announcement was heard by a quorum of council. Under the Public Meetings Act, even passive exposure to an upcoming matter by a quorum of elected officials can raise concerns about whether future decisions will be made with impartiality. So I ask, will those council members' ability to vote on this matter be tainted, at least in appearance? And if not, when the Michaels organization formally comes before council to be asked to be named the redeveloper, will that have an impact? That brings me to another key point. Residents are not allowed to speak at redevelopment entity meetings. Unlike the zoning and planning boards, which are politically connected, the zoning board still requires public hearings, testimony, and findings of fact. It's not perfect, but it's more transparent. So my question is this: why hasn't council scheduled a public workshop to discuss whether the township-wide rehabilitation designation still makes sense, or whether it's being used selectively without public accountability and with legal risk? Second, I've asked multiple times about a township employee who's being paid above the salary range authorized by ordinance. I haven't received an answer. If council didn't approve that salary, who did? Is it documented? And if no one wants to answer, what does that say about transparency? Ordinances exist for a reason, and if they're not being followed, we have a problem. So my second question is, why is this employee being paid above the range? And why is that question being ignored? It doesn't matter where the money comes from. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss in the front. You have your name.
Leslie DeLuca. I live at 704 Emerson Court in the Villas of Broadacres.
Hello.
Hi. I've lived in township for 50 years, since 1974. I have not been to a council meeting since Ann Mullen was our mayor. But I felt the need to come today to express my concern about the development that's going on in this town. Certainly not the township I moved into. There is, do we have to build on every free space that we have? Do we think about the long-term ramifications about our school district, trash collection, our wonderful police department, who I admire and think is a stellar police department? I love the township, fire department, and all the things that come with all the residences that are being built. Do we need another 200? That gentleman said, it hasn't been developed for 25 years. Well, why do we have to development now? Why can't we leave free space? I just am very concerned where the township is going. We are of a certain age now. I brought my neighbors here. We are worried about our taxes because of the implication of schools. It's just, you're pricing us out of the township, a township that I've lived in for 50 years. And I just wanted to express my concern. I don't know if Dave Carlemere remembers me, but I helped run his campaign when he ran for a freeholder with Nick Trabosh and Roletta Cream. But I haven't felt the need to become involved in politics because I've always loved this township. But I feel the need now. And I think we need to put a building moratorium in this township.
Thank you very much.
That's all.
Is there anyone else? Mr. Eckstein.
Good evening, Council. Ira Eckstein.
Good evening.
Oaks. At the meeting earlier this evening, the gentlemen that we're trying to get recognized as being in charge of developing that property said that it was a commercial piece of property and it's been at least 25 years since anybody has been there. And you had mentioned, Mr. Mercado, that there had been numerous companies that wanted to open up there, but they didn't. So my question is, why? What's going on? We don't seem to have a whole lot of businesses coming to Gloucester Township other than fast food places. Why don't we have people coming here like that? Are you guys doing something to chase people away or making it too difficult for them? I'm asking. I'm not being a wise ass. That's my question.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Eckstein. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the second public comment period. Okay. Mr. Burns, thank you for the writing that email from Mr. Sambino. He did. I was also copied on that email, so I appreciate it. There is, thank you for providing the tree replacement ordinance. We'll take a look at that. Have Mr. Carlemere take a look at that for us. I do appreciate it. Mr. Leader, you had provided comments about, do you want to address the loan situation again, Mr. Cardis?
Again, we follow strictly local bond law. Mr. Leader seems to feel that we can just put an item in our budget to pay debt. When you talk about paying a loan, there's a particular area of the budget, in the back of the budget, outside of cap, and that is strictly for debt service payments, whether they be from the general fund, whether they be from Green Acres, and we have to follow that practice of budgeting in that area. And therefore, it has to fall under local bond law.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Leader, and you asked about how can you join the green team. I responded to you directly. So I don't, did you receive my email? Okay, so you're just asking the question again?
Yes, because the mayor's team ignored me twice.
Okay, it is the mayor's office for the green team. I gave you an answer.
You can click here to join.
But that's the answer. I'll let the mayor's team know that you're interested again, sir, but that's the response. Just run through the mayor's office, the green team. Okay, as far as, and I think it's wonderful that you think that all our athletic organizations need lights. I'm sure Gloucester Township Baseball, Glendora, softball, and all these other organizations. And we try to make these things equitable. So thank you for your support of that. And that's something that council will take under consideration as we go through a capital budget next year. In regards to media and press releases, Nixle, Chief, you want to address that?
Yeah, and I can't speak for the mayor's office, but media events that we hold are by invitation. There is this, I don't know where it comes, where there's nothing constitutional about everyone being allowed. That's called a town hall. We have media release. I've had media press conferences in my office. It's not open to the public. We're allowed. We generally recognize the New Jersey Press Association's credentialed members, and that's who we take questions from. It's not open from the public. We don't have any requirement to take questions from the general public during a media event. That's a different type of event. We have had media events in this room where we have checked credentials and not allowed anyone in other than credentialed media. We've had other media events where we've been out on the gazebo, where if it's open in a public area, public are allowed certainly to observe it, but that doesn't necessarily mean we take questions. That is not anything constitutionally. If that was the case, the general public could walk into the White House, into the press room, and just anyone could ask questions. So there is a regulatory means of doing so. It's constitutionally accepted, and it's by invitation. Generally, we put general information out through our Nixle information. That's general information. There are means. We don't normally hide media, like they're not confidential information when we are having a media event, but we do retain the right to take questions from those that we choose to take questions from in a media.
Thank you. Kind of reminds me of the commercial that they stayed in the Holiday Inn Express and that made them an expert on something. I guess
It's not open.
I guess if people have a camera and a mic and they
And if
believe
they're
they're credentialed
Generally
journalists.
credentialed, there are ways of receiving a credential from the New Jersey Press Association.
Thank you, Chief, for that explanation. Mr. Leader, I wanted to know about what's the township going to do as far as investing in, council investing in other communities other than Blackwood. Uh, there are projects that take place throughout our entire community. In fact, I believe first week in June, there's in Catalina Hills, which is a very quiet section of our town, where a new playground is being installed there, and there will be an opening at the beginning of June. But there are projects that are taking place throughout the township, and I could forward you that, Mr. Leader, and identify some of those projects and send that to your email. Regarding council and school board meetings and having them on the same dates, that has been discussion for years. Council has met on Mondays. The school board has met on Mondays. The local school board, the Black Horse Pike School Board meets on a Thursday. On Tuesday, there's a planning board meeting. On Thursday, there's a zoning board meeting, I believe, or Wednesday. So there are days of the week, and then you have other taxing entities such as fire districts and also Camden County that has meetings. So trying to coordinate those meetings, people will have to pick and choose. The the Gloucester Township Public School District has said they're keeping their meetings on Monday, and we've stated that we're keeping our meetings on Monday. In regards to the acronym, we'll take that under advisement. I do agree that sometimes for the general public, particularly Mr. Carr starts talking about budget things, and I'll tell him to explain what that budget item is. So we'll take that under advisement, Mr. Leader. Ms. Kelly made comments. Ms. Kelly informed us she knocked on doors and that the residents are not interested in the project that was presented at the redevelopment meeting, and that asked why would a property zone commercial, why would someone purchase that? And I guess you answered your own question. I don't have a crystal ball. We don't have a crystal ball. Why that developer would purchase that project. With impact studies, those are done by the planning board, traffic studies and impact studies to community. So if it does get to that level, the planning board would entertain that, and that discussion will take place. And thank you for providing those letters. I'm not sure if you know, the letters were all the same. They just changed the names. So it was all the same letter, form letter. Okay. So, okay, they're just form letters. Okay. Everyone that I received today was a form letter and instructions on the top of how to do it. So, okay. All right. Okay. Ms. Coyne provided an update on the amount of apartments and talked about GT redevelopment and regarding any type of liability. I want to address the Michaels organization, a quorum. Yes, there are 4 members at the business breakfast, and those 4 members did not discuss, I can assure you, any township business related things. Just because there could be 7 members at an event. We're not discussing township business. Okay. And nothing is tainted in appearance or an Open Public Meetings Act. There was a project talking about the Michaels organization, a well-renowned organization that wants to do a project in a parcel of land that has been underutilized for decades. The comment about a public portion in our redevelopment, that is considered a working meeting. Am I incorrect?
No, you are correct. It's not a public portion.
Okay. So that is not something that is
Right,
required.
you're sitting as the redevelopment entity in your capacity on the redevelopment zones.
And because we are meeting in public, we advertise that and discussions taking place in front of the public. Okay. In regards to a rehabilitation, a township-wide rehabilitation, and yes, Ms. Coyne, you have brought that up. And I have said in the past, that's something that we'll take a look at and possibly address. And I'll speak to my colleagues on council, how they want to proceed with that. Ms. LaDuca or LaLuca? Okay. Mr. Luca, thank you. There's a lot as I look around of the people sitting on the dais or people who sit in the audience. A lot of us wouldn't be here if there wasn't development that took place in the last 50 years in our community. So I understand. I grew up in Swedesboro, 2,000 people when I went there. There was no traffic. I would get to the turnpike within about 2 minutes from my mother's house. She was on Kings Highway. Now you can't do that. That Woolwich Logan area has been transformed. It takes more than 2 minutes to get to the turnpike from my mother's house. And I understand that there are properties here, this particular property that we talked about. This has been vacant for over 25 years. I don't know why. The businesses that have gone through there, I'm going to come by Mr. Eckstein's question as far as why didn't they work out? I have no idea why they didn't work out. It is zoned for industrial. A warehouse could be there, or some type of commercial facility. I don't think you're going to have a restaurant located there as a possibility. But if that's a private parcel of land and someone wants to sell it, they have that right to sell that particular land. As a township, whether it's a planning board or zoning board, we just can't, or a council can't come out and say, no, I don't want it. I'll give you an example. We have a representative that sits on the planning board right now is Ms. Albright Troxel. But for 9 years, I had to sit on the planning board, sat there on the right, all the way at the end. And there was a developer that came in front of us that wanted to put a project at the base of the GEMS landfill. And as soon as we heard it, and I could tell you made the comment, Mr. John Custodio, who was the vice president of the planning board at the time, he goes, oh, heck no. And that comment was made because those who have been here, what that has done to our community, that landfill. Anyone who's been here, we're like, absolutely not. Well, guess what? We got sued. And guess what? There's a development at the base of the landfill. So the same thing with the Southwinds project, which is located on Ariel Road across down by where the Walgreens is, and then goes up the Black Horse Pike. That was a project we're like, we don't want it. And they went back and they sued us. Now that project was originally prior to the first recession in 2007. It stopped. He ran out of money, sold it to another developer, and now that developer is able to move that project along. But that was stagnant for over a decade for that particular project. So it is difficult for us as a body to say, no, we don't want it immediately. We have to give everybody equal footing when they come before us. So, but I thank you for your comments. Mr. Eckstein, I addressed your comments regarding, I don't know why things did not work out in that particular area. Does anyone else want to add to any of the comments that are made? Any questions or concerns or comments? Mr. Nash, you look like you wanted to say something.
All I'll say is that, we appreciate everyone's comments online and here today. We take it very personal as well. We're residents of this town as well, right? We're paying taxes. We have kids that go to schools. We travel the same roads. We have the same concerns as you. But like President Mercado said, we have to follow the process sometimes and let the professionals, let the planning board, let the zoning board, let them do their due diligence. And then it's going to come back to us. And then we're going to see this finalized plan. And at that point, then we got to make the decision whether it still makes sense or not. But at this point, yes, we're concerned. We have the same concerns as you, but we want to see how it proceeds forward.
Okay. Polling the directors.
Mr. Carlemere,
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis,
I just want to thank Mrs. Aird on her hard work on the budget.
Chief Harkins,
Just to remind everyone, this week is Police Appreciation Week coming up. We'll celebrate National Peace Officers Memorial Day on Thursday. Also want to acknowledge a foundation today called Friends of Solo, who it was a last minute get together last week. But this is a foundation that provides protective equipment for our canines, for our dogs. They donated to us two ballistic and stab-proof vests for two of our canines. These aren't cheap, these pieces of equipment, but they came down here and outfitted two of our canines. And the other two are in the process of getting outfitted. And I would just want to acknowledge that Friends of Solo, if you see a foundation that does good work for police canines, the woman who came today made this donation through this foundation in memory of her husband, who was a Port Authority, New York, New Jersey police officer. And it was really quite a great experience for us here today to have that. And for them to provide us that costly equipment at no charge is really a great thing. So I want to acknowledge and thank them publicly. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. McGill,
Nothing to add, thank you.
Mrs. Zarrett,
Nothing.
Mr. Mignon,
Just want to say, this week, a couple of us attended the GT Police Award Ceremony. Chief, great job. Congratulations to the officers that were being recognized. And I also want to state that, I know this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I can pretty much promise you that if you go into any community hospital, and I can almost guarantee that the census of the crisis patients and BHU patients will pretty much be either more or a little bit less than the acute patients and medical side. So great awareness. Thank you. Have a great week.
Mrs. Albright Troxel,
And I'd like to start out by thanking our Public Works Department, especially since this is National Public Works Week. As I am retired and I can drive around town all over the place every day I'm out and about, I see our Public Works people at work all over the township. They're not sitting around drinking coffee. They're not sitting around just chit-chatting. They're really working. And I want you to know you're getting your money's worth out of our Public Works Department. The other thing is, Mr. Burns, thank you so much. We have almost 600 acres that we're saving, and I appreciate it. But I also feel that Dan Hutchinson worked very closely with you while he was on council, and I got to take his spot. So I feel that I will make sure that Dan Hutchinson gets the thank you from you, because he was very instrumental in helping you. Also, Mr. Leader, I went to the Mother's Day luncheon last week with the seniors in town, and you were there. And I made it a point to go over and speak with you because you said something about the green team. You said you hadn't heard from the green team. So I guess I'm another person that you've asked. So I think it must be really important for you to want to be on that green team. But I did mention it to, I passed your request on to the mayor's office. And just to let you know that. And I think that's about it. I think there may be something else, but other than that, it's nice to see some people who haven't come in a long time, who have been active in the past, to be here. And I appreciate all your comments. We may not always agree, but that's the United States of America. We're allowed to disagree, as long as we all do it respectfully. And this was a very respectful meeting tonight, and I appreciate it. And I want to thank you all for coming and for acknowledging us here. Thank you.
Mrs. Grace Love,
Yes, I want to acknowledge Ms. Coyne, Ms. Kelly, and the community members, your strong advocacy for your community. I do respect that. And I just want to acknowledge that not only do I hear you, I also feel what you're saying. So I want to take that into account. I know we talked about a lot tonight. So it's really good to hear both sides and really get a lot of factual information about how the community is perceiving what may be happening in their community. So I want you to know that I don't only just hear you, but I feel what you're saying. I also want to recognize Mental Health Awareness Month for May. As you know, being a social worker for 25 years, I deal with that all day long, and also have a young family member who's dealing with mental health, and the resources that we have to go and seek out. That, it's nice to know that Gloucester Township has plenty of resources, and we work with the police department, and we have social workers available for families in the community. So I am really appreciative that we really make sure we take care of our community. And I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and have a great night.
Mr. Nash,
Thanks for coming out.
Mrs. Walters,
I want to thank everybody for coming out. I do listen to everybody's comments. I'm part of the community as well. So we all take that into consideration to heart. Again, mental health awareness, just be a friend to somebody. If you don't know what to do, just ask somebody, and we'll help you steer in the right direction. And everybody have a good night. Thanks for coming.
Mrs. Winters.
Want to mimic the comments of all my council members without repeating everything, but I do agree with all of those comments that were made. I wish everyone have a great night and enjoy this beautiful weather.
Mr. Mercado.
I want to thank again Mr. Cardis and Ms. Garrett on their work on the budget. Also, thank you to our Gloucester Township Police Department for the invitation to attend the Gloucester Township Police Awards. There was one poignant moment the evening where the stage was filled with individuals not only from Gloucester Township's police department, but the surrounding police departments that worked on that June 1st, Gloucester Township Day, and they were recognized for helping out our community when we needed it. So thank you very much for that invitation, and also those that are community members that helped out and that were recognized that evening as well. Memorial Day services are May 26th, 11 o'clock here at Veterans Park. And then, so that means that our second meeting of the month will be on Wednesday, May 28th. So please mark that on your calendar. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn. There's a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Have a great evening, everyone.
Oh my God.
Good job. Thank you for your words. Thank you. Thank you.
Did you?